Wonderful. Wonderful. Good morning, y'all. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. Who we got in here? Society Ejax, welcome, sir. Says I learned a valuable lesson this morning. Pride is a bitch. I was in my own way and I needed help. I finally opened my mouth and shit came through, but I waited so long because of my pride. Hey, as long as you learn the lesson, man. Pride is the fucking devil. Shit. No, I want to talk about that a little today. I ain't even gonna lie to you. Tiara, Team Tiara, good to see y'all in the chat, man. Dawson, welcome to the show. Rocky, good morning, y'all. I had to tell my son the same thing this weekend. Look, you're going to tell him again, too. Watch. Yeah, I learned it the hard way last week. Good morning, Rocky and everyone else. Great to see y'all on the show, guys. Yeah, I woke up late this morning. I ain't going to lie. I'm Arius Bookman. I'm your host, and welcome to the Guideposts, where I give guidance on godhood. For those of you who don't, consultations of what I do. Yeah, some folks just offer consultations. I specialize in consultations, but it's okay. It's okay. You don't know the difference anyways. It'll be all right. Woo. Pride. Yeah, I have to sprinkle that in here today. That's going to be wonderful. Why? Why do I need to sprinkle pride in here today? Because today, what we're going to be talking about is working with ancestors. Sorry, let me put my phone on. See, I had everything else. Nothing else is on silent except the ring on my alarm. And that's never on silent. I don't know why that was on silent. It's okay, though. I'll be all right. Today I'm going to talk about ancestor work. Very popular idea because it's easy to say and easy to think you understand what it means, what it's talking about, how it works. And as far as practical magic is concerned, it's one of the 3 A's of practical magic. You have ascension, ancestors, and altars. And no one else is giving you practical magic this way. So I don't want to tell you how to do something because there's so many different ways of how to do something. What I want to talk to you about are the fundamentals that are involved. Motherfuckers be like, how do I make this part of my day-to-day life? How do you make anything part of your day-to-day life? You do it every day. You involve yourself in it every day. You see it in your world. But whatever, right? Whatever. So I want to talk about a few different things on the subject of that. What else do I want to say before I jump in here? Not much of anything, to be quite frank. Let's go ahead and get it going, guys. Let's do the thing. Did I have the thing set up? Hold on. There we go. Rise and shine, motherfuckers. Back to bed. Nobody else got a kick in intro. Marshall, good to see you in the chat, man. Welcome to the show, bro. Here, pride. This is why I wanted to post. This is why I want to jump on that. Like I said, working with ancestors is a very popular thing. Here, I'll show you while I'm talking. And some people think it's just as easy as saying the right thing and telling others the right way, the real truth on ancestors. That's what you want. You want the real truth. Okay. God, I don't have to be a dick about that. The idea of real or true is it's a little bit more complicated than picking the correct answer, guys. This isn't grade school where there's a single answer and you need to battle your answer. Well, y'all ain't even good at fighting. Y'all do those moves where everybody's right and then you just completely nullify your own answer. The devil's in the details, guys, okay? So, when we do the guild, I go over the 3 A's and we nurture the 3 C's, okay? I don't talk about the 3 C's as much because it's up to you to want them, okay? But as far as the 3 C's, I usually start people out with ancestor work because it's the most basic concept of dealing with a non-physical entity. It's the most basic concept. Because some of y'all motherfuckers are using gods for physical life stuff. All right. And see, no need to rant about that. You're using gods for physical life stuff. It's mostly because, for a few reasons. One, physical life stuff is all you're really concerned about, even though you're not honest with yourself about it. Pride. And two, you don't necessarily know what deities are for. In fact, ancestors are really the only deities that's about your day-to-day life and physical life troubles. But some folks, once again, pride, are only into the spiritual stuff to try and have a better physical life. But as I was talking to one of the guild members, a bit of an impromptu session, the deities are for that upward movement away from physical life. Like what it means for something to be spiritual. Like, okay, if you're a spiritual person, what you're referring to is your connection with the divine. Now, it's easy to say that. Once again, it's easy to say that. But most people's metaphysics, and we're going to talk about this today, most people's metaphysics don't facilitate the idea of the divine. And when I say most people's metaphysics, I'm more than likely talking about you. Everyone's always surprised because, they think they just say a few new words, confidently say, well, I believe in the astral realm. And then that's it. That's wrong, okay? Just saying new words isn't going to change your underlying metaphysics. And that's what, like I said, I'm a metaphysician. People will say metaphysics, but they don't necessarily know what it means. So that's part of what we're going to get into today. So yeah, I go over the 3 A's and I try and help nurture your 3 C's. Okay, ancestors are a very basic concept, but sometimes you'll be surprised how simple it is. But just because it's basic doesn't mean you don't need to work at it. Like if you do karate, you get that basic punch that you got to work at for months. So this is something you have to work at. How do I make it part of my day-to-day life? Well, you work at it. Don't let them become your day-to-day life in 1, 2, 3 days a week. Really, think about the shit you already do. Most of this work isn't finding some new hot thing to do. It's reassessing what you already do. Think about the shit that's already part of your day-to-day life. That shit didn't get there overnight. You had to work on that. You had to practice it. You had to cultivate it. You had to dedicate yourself to understanding and participating in it. Okay? So when it comes to deities, these are why I close that. I wanted to show you what I meant by what for deities. I closed it because I was ready to get to the next thing, but not quite really, huh? When it comes to deities, okay, deities are more so for your forward progress in ascension. Here we go. They're more so for your forward progress in ascension, as opposed to looking back at the physical world and helping facilitate that. That is where ancestors come in. Now, when you don't know no better, when you have no other options because you don't know, you can throw deities in that role. That's perfectly fine. Okay? But to move forward in the process of ascension, you're going to need those deities. So you're going to have to let go of your allegiance to the physical world. You're going to have to let it go. You say, how do I do that? As though there's steps. There's not steps to it. Once again, this is not, you need to get to somewhere else. You need to reassess where you're at. You need to reassess where you're at and your allegiance to the things you say you don't care about. It's easy to say you don't care about shit when you ain't got shit. Start having a few things that you care about and then see how hard it is to let everything go. This work ain't simple, bruh. It's not simple. Like a real nigga like me, I can give you the fundamentals in a simplified concept, but it's not new information that you need. It's a new way of thinking is what you really need. A new way of thinking is what you really need. That's what I need to do. I need to download this video because I think it's very pertinent to what I mean when I say you need a new way of thinking. Saved videos. I have it in here. There it is. Right there. There it is. Right there. You need a new way of thinking. Because when it comes to this work, the world isn't changing. It's perfect. The world is perfect. It doesn't change. What changes is your perception of it. Look at the little image over here. The image stays the same the whole time. Even the movement through it stays the same the whole time. What changes is your perception of the thing. So the first thing you really got to do is change your perception of reality at large. This is called ontology, guys. And mind you, I'm the first one out here telling you about it. Somebody else is telling you about ontology. You know where they got it from. But seriously though, you can say it's a Google search away. Anyways, your underlying framing for how reality works is going to tap in or touch every other thing you do. That's part of the reason I want to talk about it here today. And pride, some people are in this work to feel better about knowing information that people that they want to look down on. They can say, hey, you don't know this. Hey, Christian, you don't know about the astral, ancestral, Akashic realms. And now they feel a little better. You go to your group, everybody's clapping. Facts. You feel better. Pride. I'm not going to be too mad about that. Everybody needs kindergarten, bro. Everybody needs kindergarten. You don't just jump to collegiate level shit. But you do when you're trying to be prideful. You try and jump to collegiate level shit when you're not ready for it. So your fundamental understanding of how reality is structured and composed, the dynamics that are involved, your underlying understanding of those is going to tailor to your idea of ancestors, what that is and how it works. Side ejects, yep, we were easily say we don't care about that until that shit gets taken away. Oh yeah, for where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. Little scripture for us. Thank you, sir. Little scripture. Yeah, look, everybody like to say chaos till shit start fucking up. Right? Everybody love to say chaos till shit start fucking up. Then all of a sudden you need help from a deity. Well, Dawson, I did this mushroom trip and found out I'm really a baby out here, and I was distraught. But what you just think? Look, real shit. Most of the motherfuckers out here is babies in this shit. They don't want to have to admit it. So once again, pride. And then be distraught to see the truth, right? Go out here, I want the spiritual truth of reality. First thing you get, well, nigga, you a baby. Not me. But it's true. It's true. Not only that, because I'm not saying it just to look down on you. I could, but I'm not saying it like that because you're going to go through the rebirth process consistently. Consistently. It's par for the course. So I'm not trying to give you hero cookies to let you feel that you ahead of the curve because you're not. But because I can tell you you're not ahead of the curve because it upsets you to find yourself as a baby, as a child in something. Cry like a bitch for hours. Well, stop. Go ahead and let it out, Dawson. Real shit. Go ahead and let it out. Oh, is that a tag on my shirt? I thought the tag. I'm sorry. This is a relatively new shirt for me. I like it though. Yeah, so your underlying idea of how the world works is going to condition your understanding of deities, ancestors, the whole work, your day-to-day life. And it's not as simple as just saying new words. It's not as simple as just saying new words. I'm going to use the one that I don't have highlighted here. I talk about these things all the time because of how crucial they are to your understanding of anything else. I talk about cosmology because your cosmology is composed of the ontology and epistemology that you already understand. What's the ontology? The ontology is your conception of reality at large, the components of it, the categories, how those categories interact. And a lot of people, especially in this post-European Enlightenment world, are physicalists. They're materialists. Now, when I say they're materialists, I'm not saying they're being materialistic, as in they're pining for material goods. I'm saying that material is all they consider real. The material world is all they consider real, and they try and staple or tack on spiritual words to their material understanding of the world. Like for example, Christianity. You know, most people here, I'm ready to reject Christianity because Christianity isn't real. I'm not telling you it's real. I'm not a Christian. But what I'm saying is, most of you have only changed what you think, and you haven't changed how you think. Yes, I have, Eris. You don't know me. You can never know me. I'm mysterious. No, you're typical. Look. Just changing God to higher self. That's what people do. Change the devil to lower self. Or you say my ego. Changing the heavenly realms to the astral world. And now I know because I have the right word. I have the original word. They tried to hide it from us. You gotta quit looking out for somebody trying to hide something from you. Quit looking out for somebody trying to hide something from you and question the degree to which you're gullible. Why is it when we study this? Why is it we get into spirituality, we think we want a better life, but really see how fucked up our life are? That shit don't make you feel better. No, it don't make you feel better. Look, man, especially when motherfuckers reject their old religions and cultures, because those religions and cultures provided you with your fundamental understanding of reality. They provided you with your fundamental understanding of reality. And when your fundamental understanding of reality is subverted, is pulled from under you, when you're kicked out of the nest, shit gets fucked up. It's terrifying. It's scary. And you want nothing more than for shit to be understandable again. You want nothing more than to feel like you're part of a group again. And then on top of that, motherfuckers' pride, motherfuckers don't want to admit that that's what they're looking for. And so you got 3 levels of bullshit. Man, please. Those cultures and religions provided you your fundamental understanding of reality. And then when you say, I reject Christianity, I'm not a Christian anymore, I don't even go to church. No, you're just a bad Christian. Because you still take that fundamental understanding of reality, and even if you color it with new words, the dynamics and components are still the same. The dynamics and the components are still the same. So you leave Christianity, recolor God as the higher self, recolor the heavens as the astral realms, right? Recolor the devil as just the ego or the lower self. And once you know this, as if you're some kind of Gnostic, then you understand. No. You still believe the same things. And that's the issue. It's not you have to believe the correct thing. That's not the case. There is no correct thing to believe. It's that your beliefs underpin your knowledge, and your knowledge underpins your actions. Some people would like to say, pride, I don't believe anything. I only know. I'm a scientist. Oh, really? Really? Because it feels good to think you can think scientifically, but it's a difficult endeavor. It really is. Let's use the Christian example real quick, okay? Don't worry, I'm going to get into the topic. I need you to understand the fundamentals of what you're talking about. What you want? What you want? A 1-minute video that's going to give you everything you need? Why? So you can be done with the video and get back to doing what? Being typical? Take time. What is reality? Oh, what was it? Dawson. Being outside of my mind made me appreciate the little problems I have in my physical life. Man, them little problems ain't shit. Because look, you get into this spiritual work, for real, when you lean in, problems coming. Problems coming. They was always there. You was so busy running from the shit. This shit don't make you feel better when you in it, bro. Like, I seen someone advertising shadow work without having to pull up traumatic experiences. And I'm like, but okay, you know what? Cool, go ahead, kindergarten shit. But I can see how that's tantalizing to a motherfucker. I can do shadow work without it feeling bad? Sign me up. I mean, I'm not against feeling bad because, I'm cool, but this sounds like this must be what it is. No. You're going to get your ass whooped. You're going to get your ass whooped. Characterized by constant change, activity, or progress. A dynamic. What is that dynamic? There you go. Look, Society Ejects not only looking up the word, helping out the group. Go ahead, man. All right, look. Your fundamental understanding of reality. Your fundamental metaphysical presuppositions. Your fundamental metaphysical presuppositions. Metaphysical presupposition, they're suppositions that are metaphysical. See, man? It's not difficult. I'll be seeking plain English. Whatever. Reality at large. You were a Christian. The basic fundamental categories of what constituted reality were heaven, hell, and earth. Heaven, hell, and earth. It can be as simple as that. You can even divide those into more categories if you like. You don't necessarily have to. It doesn't have to be complicated. Some people can't believe it if it's not complicated. That's funny. Anyway, that's reality at large. It's the ground of being. It's the ground of being. Okay? It forms the stage upon which everything else is going to take place. Reality in context. Okay, this is the epistemology. What can we know in context of that which we say is real? What can we know in context of that which we say is real? All right, so for the Christian example, in heaven you'd have God and angels. In hell you'd have demons and the devil. On earth you'd have man and woman. And to kind of sprinkle a little extra complexity here, because we're going to be talking about ancestors. Also in heaven and hell, you have those who have passed on. The goodies go to heaven and the baddies go to hell. Right? This is what can be known in context of what you believe is real. All right, so you got the epistemology and the ontology. Ontology, what is reality at large? Epistemology, what is reality in context? But now, the third one, you get to the methodology. You get to how these things work. You get to the question of, well, what does this have to do with me? How do I fit in? All right, and this is what they do. They give you a cosmic narrative, an original saga of reality, right? With Christianity, they tell you about God creating the heavens and Lucifer falling from heaven, God creating the Garden of Eden, putting Adam in there and he fucks up, God incarnating as his son on earth to die for your sin, to become the way, so that you can follow his example, and then he rises and fucks off to heaven again. But all that's the past. They also give you the future in Revelations. Not only did Jesus leave, rose to heaven, but the nigga coming back. He's coming back. He gonna have the horses, the swords, the trumpets, the fire, the brimstone, and shit gonna turn up. Rapture, right? You got the past and the future. With the past and the future, you can conceptualize a now. You can conceptualize a now. And from there, you can cultivate your sense of self, your day-to-day life. See, your day-to-day life is framed in all of those components. Some people want to skip just to, oh man, how do I change the day-to-day life? Well, what you got in the pot, player? What elements are you using to frame it? I don't really know. Fair play. Fair play is somewhere to start. But some of y'all motherfuckers just got random pieces from all over the place. You got some Sanskrit words over here. You got some chakra colors, some zodiac things. You got your ideas about the elements. There's some tarot cards. And you just pull out your pocket. Well, I got all this stuff. You don't even know what none of that stuff is. Except you feel you know because you can repeat what other people say. And I understand that. That's what kids do. Do the leg pat. Oh. Oh, shit. Forward, men! We've got sinners to tell! Sorry. I'm sorry. I enjoyed that. It was fun for me. Have fun, guys. You need all of these components to nest your idea of yourself in the world you perceive. You need all of those components to frame your concept of a day-to-day life. Without that framing, you don't really have much of a day-to-day life. Or you don't even know how your day-to-day life works. And you end up just living, moving forward, always moving forward. Don't know where you're going. Don't know why you got to go forward, but you're always moving forward. And sometimes you're not even moving forward. You're just fucking moving. Like a crab or a turtle on its back. Just legs. I'm moving, guys. Look at me. I'm moving. But you ain't going nowhere. Okay? So, when you ask about how do you incorporate this into your day-to-day life, what most of you are going to have to really contend with is that your fundamental construction of reality is still a Christian one. That's not bad. But you have to stop rejecting it. And if you're going to do the work to make it something different, it's more work than you're expecting. I'm not going to tell you can't do it because you most certainly can. Oh, but the devil's in the details, kiddies. So, this is what we're going to get into today. Here we go. Let's kill this. Okay. I want to start here. We're going to talk about ancestors. All right? Here. I'm going to do this while I re-up my coffee real quick. I'm going to play my favorite video. Because I don't just want you motherfuckers to feel nice, okay? I don't want you niggas to just feel nice. Does everybody want to feel nice all the time? And then not have to admit to themselves they feel like shit. No, I don't really feel like shit. Why are you chasing feeling nice so hard? I'm not, man. I'm not. Okay, whatever you say, bro. Y'all motherfuckers, man. Y'all be getting me. It's alright. I'm going to get over it. Here, check this out while I get some more coffee, bro. Oh, this is what I can do. Instead of doing that, this is what I can do. I'll show you a segment I've already done on the subject. Right? Who else? Nobody do. Stop. But I know they don't. It's okay. It is. It really is. I know they don't, but it's okay. How long ago was this I did that? What are the aspects of deities? Altars. Meaning, marriage, comes out, Stephen King. Here we go. This is a good one. Here we go, kiddies. See how I just appear out of the Sith reign? I think it's fun. Okay. Don't be a perfectionist. Just start it from there. All right, guys. Here, take your time. Check this out. I'll be back. Many practices from the old days are beginning to resurface as the masses abandon their present cultures and religions. Some habits die hard or not at all. Within all this, however, there is some nuance that we can hold on to. In pursuit of that, I'll ask this question. What's the difference between ancestors and deities? The practice of ancestor work is both widely held and accepted, as well as quite wide in its scope of various expressions. From practices such as ancestor veneration, generational curse cleansing, to outright necromancy in full. Depending on who you ask, the how to do it can vary quite widely, although the fundamentals tend to stay the same. As far as beginner practices are concerned, working with ancestors is a great way to get started on the path of working non-physically from the perspective of having and living a physical life. I would say that this is mostly the case because of the proximal nature of ancestors to your own physical life. Said differently, ancestor work is a good beginner practice because men and women living a physical life are much more accustomed to those who have lived physical lives than they are with outright deities who have never lived a physical life at all. Where things seem to get a bit more complex for most initiates is shifting from working with ancestors to ever getting around to working with any deity specifically. Some have never done it at all, and others see the jump as so strikingly different that they don't quite know how to make the shift. Here's the thing though, ancestors are deities. A deity, put as simple as can be, is a being that is non-physical. All physical beings are an outward expression of a non-physical reality, although not always on a one-to-one basis. The details of this can get complicated and confusing, but that is usually only a result of inadequate framing of the self. Said differently, how you see yourself will affect your capacity to see anything else, including ancestors and other deities. Knowing the line between, or the difference between, the physical and non-physical will make this work much simpler. Not to mention the fact that if what you isn't the body, your ancestor work doesn't need to be limited to the lineage of your physical body. I would suggest that you outright wake the dead when you need assistance navigating or handling the experiences of physical life. For me and the clients I work with, I explain it like this. Ancestors are the deities of physical life. The same way you can have a deity of the trees or a deity of the crossroads. By that same respect, ancestors are the deities of physical life. If you are having an issue with your rent, Ogun won't be of much help, seeing as how he has never had to pay rent. If you are having an issue with driving, Jesus taking the wheel won't be of much help either, seeing as how he only ever rode a donkey. The spirit or personality of your Aunt Betty has lived this life, so what to do with or about rent is somewhat more in her jurisdiction. Your Grandpa Jim had to deal with juggling multiple women, 2 jobs, and car problems. I would call him about physical life before I called Zeus. The same way it wouldn't make much sense to ask Mother Kali about growing plants as opposed to killing and drinking blood. Or how little sense it would make to ask Lucifer about changing an alternator or choosing the correct dish for dinner. The ancestors are those who have experienced living physical life, and as such, are the best suited to not only assist in such issues, but most fit to handle them outright. In conclusion, if you haven't figured it out yet, this is somewhat of a trick question. When I work with my clients, I almost always start them out on some form of ancestor work to get the gears turning. Whether you need to feed them, have their picture up somewhere, or even speak to them, it's up to the framing of you and your psyche. How you decide to do it isn't the issue. The issue is whether or not you do decide to do it. As always, you get results based on what you do and not what you meant to do. That beat is hitting, right? I know you love it. I know you love it. It's okay to say you love it. No, Eric, I don't like you at all, bro. You a dick. Here, let me answer some questions real quick. Check this out, guys. It's okay, because those aren't bad questions at all. You're almost there, okay? Rocky, question is, reality at large the fundamental components of reality, or is that existential essentials? It's actually an interesting question, because reality at large is only the at large part of the fundamental components of reality. The existential essentials are going through all the levels of analysis. So let's take it like we were talking about a Monopoly board. We were talking about a Monopoly board, the Monopoly game. The board itself, that's reality at large. The in context is all the pieces and the possible houses and hotels, the money, the real estate cards, all of that exists within context of that at large. And then the third part, the narrative or the continuity, is the actual gameplay or the playing of the game, the actual movement of all these pieces together in a dynamic sense. All right, so the existential essentials are going to talk to you about all the levels of analysis you're going to need to nest or to frame the cosmos. Because once you have that framing of the cosmos, that's what you use to compose an idea of yourself. So, because you stop. I like to think about it like a bird's nest, okay? It's not just sticks. You know, you got the sticks, you got the mud, you got the leaves, you got that little shiny thing over there. All of that nests the baby into the world they experience. And because of the nest, they don't have to experience all the world right away. Most of the world would eat it. The nest allows that baby to be cultivated, to push up against the boundaries safely so they can begin to grow and learn and understand things. So reality at large is just talking about the ground of being. All right, the board the game is being played on. Not to say it's insignificant, but you need all three existential essentials to form the whole nest, to form the whole drama, if you will. Okay? So on how you see yourself is based on your epistemology. That's part of it. That's part of it. Your epistemology is what can be known. How do you know? Remember, epistemology is the study of knowing. It's a branch of philosophy under metaphysics. Actually, to be completely honest, in every branch of philosophy, you're going to have some sort of ontology and epistemology. Okay? Your epistemology is talking about what can be known. How do you know? What does it mean to know? But specifically in this context, it's going to be what can be known in context of what we're talking about. So let's go back to the Christian example again, okay? Ontology, the at-large, heaven, hell, and earth, okay? The epistemology, what can be known within context of that? Within the context of heaven and heaven, you have angels and God. The context of hell, you have the devil and demons. In the context of earth, you have man and woman. All right? So it's not just going to be the epistemology that goes into what yourself is. You're going to need the ontology and the epistemology and the narrative, because you're not just man or woman. You're a specific one. Right? And so to get to the specific one, you need the narrative, the drama, the past, telling you about the creation of everything by God and the fall of Lucifer, Adam, Christ, and then his resurrection. All of that to form the past so that you have an idea of the future as well with revelations. And with that past and future, that now is where this idea of yourself comes from. It has to be contextualized in a past and future. This is why some people get out here with this stupid shit about, oh, it was really aliens, or they misinterpret the Anunnaki and all of the Sumerian shit as aliens. Because why? Why do they do that? Because the metaphysics that they have is physicalism. And so they don't even, they completely disregard the idea of leaving the physical world. And now it's all about aliens. Or they'll say interdimensional aliens. Ooh, right? Interdimensional aliens. What the fuck is interdimensional? How does that even work? But, you know, you got the motherfuckers who are talking about 5D upgrades. Eat your spirulina and wait for the day. That's the rapture again, bruh. That's the rapture. Remember, hold on your Bible, worship Jesus, and wait for the day till he returns. The rapture. Eat your spirulina, do your meditation, and wait for the planet to shift so that you can ascend. That's the rapture again. See, that's what I mean by motherfuckers putting new words on the shit they already believed. So yourself, the idea of a self, is nested in a narrative. That's part of what a you is. You know, you hear the generator, operator, destroyer, past, present, and future. Cardinal, fixed, mutable. The idea of a you is nested in some sort of a narrative. It's necessarily the case. So your epistemology is part of forming that nest. Okay? Just like the ontology, reality at large, is another component of forming that nest. All right? It's nested in a concept of a narrative, because you can't have the narrative without the at-large, the stage or the ground of being, and then the epistemology, the components that you're going to find throughout that stage, and then the narrative or the continuity connects all those pieces. So the narrative is where you're going to get that self from. But all of that is resting upon these metaphysical presuppositions. That's why they're so important to look at. That's why you can't just take what you used to believe, put new words on it, and claim it's different. But if somebody did that shit to you, you'd be pissed. If somebody took a McDonald's burger, took it to their house, Set up the grill like they was grilling and served you that. You'd be like, nigga, what is this? This is a Big Mac. I came here to eat the cookout food. You gave me a Big Mac. You'd be like, what the fuck is that? That's stupid. That's dumb. That's ridiculous. Well, that's what most of you are doing. Oh, watch out for the pride. It's okay. It's okay to have messed up. See, a lot of people don't want to have messed up because they spend too much time talking shit. They talking shit to motherfuckers who they give a fuck. Anyways, excuse me. My apologies. I'm having fun. So you need the ontology and the epistemology to give you the components that are going to be in that narrative, and that narrative is what nests a concept of a self. See, motherfuckers just want to draw, how do I summon a demon? Let me guess, you're not Christian anymore, right? I'm not a Christian, I work with demons. Same metaphysical presuppositions. So now instead of angels, it's demons. You're still a Christian. You're just a bad Christian. Brian, it can be so simple, bro. Rocky said, as you uncover your narrative, should you be able to see yourself in all aspects of the narrative, physical, non-physical, and primordial? Yeah, you can see yourself in all aspects. I'm not saying you should. You don't necessarily need to be completely honest. In order to participate in it, you don't necessarily need to. But you do want to have a bit of an understanding of how that works. Like, once again, the Christian example. When you're nested in that narrative and that cosmology, you can see how what yourself is relates to angels and gods or the devil and demons. So the most you need is a sense of how these things relate in order for you to participate. Now, when it comes to the work of ascension, it's a whole different level of engagement, because most people just want to feel comfortable in their day-to-day life. They'll claim, I want this, I want that, I want this, I want that. But as soon as they get a good feeling, they stop doing any of the work. Until, of course, something fucks up. Then Arius, I don't know what happened. It was going so well. I thought I was doing the work. No, you settled for feeling good. Ass. So you need at least a sense of how these things connect in order for you to participate. See, just like with Christianity, you don't need to be able to see yourself in heaven or hell in order to participate in what's going on. The Egyptian pantheon, they didn't need to see themselves on Ra's boat every day and night in order to participate, in order to feel connected to the movements or the flows of the whole cosmology. Relax, you good. Arius, what do you believe in? I believe in belief. Don't ask me what I believe in so you can jump on board and then feel like you're in the right thing. No. Question what you believe. Get down to your fundamentals. Think about your thinking. You ain't slick, boy. You ain't slick. Look, I could sit here and I could talk to you about my narrative, my cosmology. It wouldn't have anything to do with you. There'd be no way for you to connect to it aside from being another fucking NPC in the game. Yeah, so there's no way it would make a difference for you. Now, folks in the guild, I'll talk to them about it because they're doing the same work. But bruh, I'm telling you, challenge what you already know, what you already believe. And if you want to say, I don't know anything, well, get to knowing some shit. Go learn. Dawson, I'm the Rachel Gunn of this shit. Who the fuck is Rachel Gunn? Uh-oh. Rachel Gunn. Not Rachel Goo. Rachel Gunn. Oh, the breakdancing, the phony breakdancing Australia bitch. Boy, stop. Don't you just love white supremacy? That's what you got in the Olympics for breakdancing? Boy, that shit's funny. Oh, shit, man. When I was in Christianity, I was placing myself in the narrow physical and spiritual. Well, and this is what I also want to get to today. A lot of people who try to maintain their idea of themselves in Christianity find it difficult because of this post-Enlightenment European post-Enlightenment that is characterized not just the West but the globe, most of the globe at this point. Basically, the metaphysics that the people who created Christianity were using isn't being used anymore. And so for a lot of people, Christianity doesn't fit. To be quite honest, nothing fits this metaphysics. The metaphysics of physicalism, materialism. Here, let's look it up again. Come on, it's fine. It's fine. Hold my hand. No, don't just run out there. Don't just run out there. But I'm ready, Arius. I'm advanced. No, you're not. You're a baby. Is the view that everything is physical. Okay? And look, this is why I say you can't just put new words on what you really do believe, which is everything is physical. You can't just put new words on it and claim, haha, I've got it. Because those new words don't fit into the metaphysics of physicalism. They don't fit. The most you'll get is an epiphenomenon. Some type of an idea where it's still the physical that's making it, but that's primary, excuse me. It's still the physical that's primary, that's causing whatever this epiphenomenon is. And so you make the physical the beginning. You make the physical the beginning. And in all these spiritual frameworks, the physical is the end. It's the residue. It's the shit. You're not going to trick yourself into believing something new. You have to contend with what you believe. You're not just going to go find the right answer. You need to comprehend what it means for something to be right, true. This ain't school where you just jump in there and get the right answer. And here's your gold star, Jimmy. Al Dickey, good to see you in the chat. Welcome to the show. Last thing before I jump into what I want to talk about. Where am I at today? All right, 57 minutes, not too bad. Physicalism, okay? Your particles, your biology, all right? Your quantum physics, your dark matter, your dark energy, your 0-point energy, your quarks, your strings, your gluons, your Higgs bosons, your melanin, your metabolism, your DNA, your magnetosphere, your cranial nerves, your spinal back oil. All of these are artifacts of physicalism. None of them are spiritual. By their design, the physicalist framework, what you call science, not to say it's not, what you know is science. I'm talking about what you know. How do you know what I know, Aries? Because you're typical. Fuck. What you know is science. The idea of how the world is framed, this physicalist mentality, does not facilitate anything beyond the physical. It doesn't. Just claiming that melanin is spiritual doesn't make it spiritual. Fuck. It's particulate matter. Yeah, but it vibrates into the spirit. What do you mean vibrates? What do you mean vibrates into the spiritual? You're using words that sound advanced and claiming they're spiritual, and they're not. But it's part of the Kabbalion. Okay, cool. Here, check it out. Check it out. Because I got to do it. I got to do it. Everything vibrates. What does that mean? We're not talking about particles, kids. We're not talking about fucking particles. What is vibration? Stop thinking particles. You got to go deeper than that. Fuck. Just repeating people. What is necessary for vibration? Where are we at? Where are we at? Here we go. Threefold geometry. What you're looking at here is not vibration. This is a measurement of vibration. This is a depiction of vibration, okay? What you need for vibration is at the very least a threefold pattern. This is why it's the third of the Hermetic principles, the Tahuti's principles, okay? Where we at? Should I put it in here? I know I put it in here. Boom, there we go. All right, this is what you're looking at. Vibration. All right, we're talking about 3 modes, 4 positions. 3 modes, 4 positions. Where do you also find that at? Your zodiac? Why? Because what are we talking about? The circle. We're not talking about fucking atoms and particles and subatomic particles and no. No, all of that is the physical world. All of that is the residue again. Vibration. You start in one place, the beginning, rest. You move away from rest. You return to rest. You move away from rest, you return to rest. You've mapped out the circle. It's the dynamic, the interplay between that rest, that neutrality, and the positive and negative. Not electricity. The concept themselves. Look, I got 2 cups. Well, this is a jar and a mug, but 2 cups, okay? 2 cups. Where is 2? This is an instance of 2. This is a manifestation of 2. We can even break it down further than that. Where is 2 itself? It's not physical. It's not physical. We're talking about concepts, principles, not fucking particles. So why is psychoanalysis pseudoscience? Well, what metaphysical grounds are you using? Because I wouldn't call psychoanalysis pseudoscience, but from the physicalist perspective, everything that is subjective isn't real. Everything that is subjective from a physicalist perspective is not real. Only what is objectively tangible. Why? Because the physicalist perspective is either a monistic metaphysics, where there's only a single thing, matter, or it's a dual metaphysics, where you have objective, subjective, mind and matter. Right? But neither of which can facilitate anything beyond themselves. Descartes could even tell you he was never even able to reconcile his issue of objective and subjective, mind and matter. And even today, they can't do it. That's what's called the mind-body problem. And it's a problem that's generated by their underlying metaphysics. So anything subjective from a physicalist perspective is pseudoscience. So psychoanalysis isn't pseudoscience because of psychoanalysis. It's because of the metaphysical presuppositions. Your comprehension will only be based on your 3 existential essentials. Yes. That's the lens you use to look at anything. It's the lens you use to look at anything. You ask a Christian, right? Why did that bad thing happen? Well, that's the devil. The devil is lurking. Ha! Look at you, Christian. You're stupid. There's no devil lurking. It's really quantum quizziloquah. So 2 different lenses to look at it. You're looking at it over here. I can see the devil. There's an angel's influence on here. My mother's looking down at me from heaven, framing how you see the world. Over here, quantum melanin DNA centrifugal back oil, right? It's just machinery. It's just objective. It's just matter. Matter and measurement. And that doesn't facilitate anything spiritual. That was the whole point in the way in which they began to think that way, where there was no narrative needed. There was no you involved in any of it. So yes, these existential essentials compose the frame of this lens that you use to perceive and frame the world. You need an understanding of these. And look, this is what your religions came with. I know it's the cool thing to do, to reject religion and claim to be something new with sciencey words, but it's not going to get you where you want to go. You have to have a firm understanding of metaphysics. It is because therapists can't analyze the mind because it's not physical. Yes, in the idea of physicalism, the only thing that is real is matter. And so the mind is a floofy-floppy concept when it comes to physicalism. This is why when it comes to psychology, neurology is creeping in. Slowly but surely. Always. And whatever neurology says becomes the reality. It's the basic metaphysics. And this is why I will spend more time telling y'all about physicalism, because no other metaphysics does to you what physicalism is doing. And if you don't understand what you're involved in, what the nature of your predicament is, you're never going to get out of it. Dorothy and the Wizard of Oz. She didn't understand the nature of her predicament. She didn't understand the nature of her predicament. And so if you don't understand the nature of your predicament, you're never going to get out of it. Physicalism is cosmological bleach. It does not facilitate a narrative. It does not facilitate a narrative. Like I gave you the example from, what was the guy's name? Was it John Lennox? Was it John Lennox? Damn, what was this nigga's name? Yep, nailed it. This guy, John Lennox, he gave this example one time. I think it was brilliant. Okay, I have water boiling in the kitchen. Why is the water boiling? From a physicalist lens, okay? We'll put that physicalist metaphysics on there. Well, the water is boiling because the heat from the flame is exciting the water molecules. And as they begin to vibrate faster and faster, they experience a shift in phase, which causes them to move from liquid to gas, creating the bubbles in the water and the steam that rises up. This is how most of you frame and define what is real. The issue with that is there's no you in any of that description. There's no you. The way the scientific method has been working is that you take the experimenter, the you, out of the experiment. And that's what makes it more correct. Here's another way of explaining why water is boiling in the kitchen. I wanted to make some noodles. Both of them are correct. Which one has a you in it? Which one can you fit yourself to? It can be so fucking simple. Was just on the phone with my brother and he was saying how he doesn't worship Allah anymore, just the all, and that's his friend, Al Dickey. See, today what people are doing is a spirituality where it's all about themselves. And you know, I won't tell you this wrong, but you can't teach that shit to people. Because it just devolves into narcissism. It devolves into narcissism when you don't change the fundamentals underneath. Because this is the problem with that. The all is one thing. It doesn't have any friends. It's all. But people will say what feels good. They won't think about it. And if you cause them to think about it, they're going to get upset. The all is all. It don't have no friends. Look, for the all to have a friend, that friend would need to be something other than what the all is. The all is all. It has no friends, it has no thoughts, no communication. There's no place that the all is, because the place would have to be something other than the all itself, which it wouldn't be because it's the all. People just say what they've heard that feels good. So it's bullshit. It's bullshit. But, I mean, it feels good. So that's what they're going to do. I think therapists study behavior more than the mind. And as we move forward deeper and deeper into physicalism? Yes. There are some therapists, excuse me. There are some therapists that are behaviorist proper. There are different types of psychoanalysis. Like me specifically, I'm more of a phenomenal depth psychologist. The depth psychologists were people like Carl Jung. Like, if you want a good idea of how the psychological world works, check out Jordan Peterson, bro. He does an excellent lecture on this shit. Where is it? I'd go to YouTube and look it up. Once again, it's going to take you more than a minute to look at it, to listen to it. Fuck. Pieces of shit. I want a quick area so I can get to being rich and cool and people will like me. Shut up. Here, let me show you. Where is it? Let's map some meaning. It doesn't. I know I can find it when I go on my phone. Did he really take it off of here? I'm looking at personality and its transformations. Yeah. It's from 2014. See, the shit been out here, bro. This lecture series is excellent. He goes through different types of how we even come to the idea of personality. All right, different ways in which motherfuckers have thought about this shit. Take some time to go learn. See, he can tell you about this better than I could. He was actually a clinical psychologist for a long time. Okay, check it out, please. I'm not telling you follow Jordan Peterson forever and listen to everything he says and do everything. I'm not telling you to find somebody else to follow. I want you to learn to think about your thinking. So why are they doing all this physicalism on Earth? Is this the only thing that they think is real on this Earth? It's the only thing they think is real in all of reality. It's the only thing they think is real in all of reality. Physicalism. And look, some people will claim that they believe something beyond that shit because they want to believe that. Just because you want to believe something don't mean you believe it. Just because you want to believe something don't mean you believe it. As a matter of fact, that's probably the opposite, to be completely honest. It's like Ghost in the Shell anime. She understands her predicament and came out of it, even though they still provoke the soul being locked in the body. I don't know. I never watched Ghost in the Shell. I've heard about it, though. I may have to watch it one of these days. Would that be looking through the lens of the middle pather? Bruh, you jumping around. Look, left, right, middle path, that's not underlying. Well, it's not necessarily underlying metaphysics. That's not existential essentials. That's more talking about how you approach methodology. That's talking about how you approach methodology. And before you can get to methodology, you have to have the fundamentals already set up. See, some people will use the middle path because of how deeply neutral it is. They don't necessarily have to disagree or agree with anything. They can just be and make a claim. But I tell you, man, middle path is harder than motherfuckers give it credit for. You got to be so neutral as bias. And a lot of y'all motherfuckers ain't neutral. You're very biased to one side or the other. This is how things should be. I want this. This is all I want. You're not neutral if you're doing that. Even to desire to have no desires is a desire. Even the desire to have no desire is a desire. You got to be so neutral, it's bias. Man, go talk to Trav about that shit. I'm telling you. It's more difficult than motherfuckers will give it credit for. They want the new hot thing they can do. Look at me, bro. An hour 14 in. All right, let's talk about this. Ancestor stuff, right? Because like I said, it digs into your fundamental, your metaphysical presuppositions. What you believe about the fundamentals of reality. Can I make this a little smaller? There we go. Look at that. All right. Of course it's deep. Don't be shallow. Come on, get in here. Because look, you really got to contend with this shit is more than what you thought it was. You really got to contend with that. Just like Dawson was talking about how he had to contend with the fact that he's a baby in this shit. You ain't even ready to contend with that because motherfuckers, that pride. Pride is the devil. I know it's got a hold on you. All right, so ancestors, right? This is usually where I start people off when it comes to methodology, is working with ancestors. It's one of the most fundamental and basic non-physical beings you can work with, all right? And to begin, most of y'all's issue is you have no continuity with anything that's not physical. That's part of why you're not even a spiritual person. You have a lot of nice new words, but you don't understand how they work. You can say them. You ever seen a baby cuss? You just repeating words? Yeah, that's what you're doing. All these different words you invoke come with context. They come with a framework. And so I kind of want to go over all sorts of different ways in which people have framed this idea. Because it's not just as simple as, oh, I love my ancestors. Well, how do those fit into your metaphysics? How does that relate to the world? And to be quite honest, most people will just use the Christian framework, take heaven, paint it with something and call it something different, and just use the same dynamics that they have from Christianity. Here, let's look at that a little bit. And once again, not once again because I haven't said it yet. I'll use Wikipedia because it'll give you basics to begin researching. It gives you basics to begin researching. Heaven and hell, okay? Now, when it comes to things like Christianity, for example, the basic understanding, just like we said before with the cosmology, heaven is a place, hell is a place. And this is where one goes when their physical life is done, right? You'll have those who have passed, who are the goodies, they go to heaven. Those who are the baddies go to hell. And it's easy to say I believe something, but to what degree do your actions reflect it? If you're a Christian, which most of you are, don't get mad. If you're a Christian, when someone's physical body dies, because first of all, y'all just say that person died, because you have no continuity with anything beyond physical life. And to consider it seems a bit odd to you. I understand, that's physicalism, okay? When you actually believe in an afterlife, the death of someone's body isn't going to bother you as much. Because all that's gone is their body. Like, really ask some Christians and see how much they actually really believe in that. They really believe in angels and somebody dying, and that person who dies now gets to be an angel and all the things the angels can do. Can walk with you, can help move things through life. There's a continuity between you. It's the unbroken and consistent existence or operation of something over a period of time. The unbroken and consistent existence or operation of continuity, maybe? It's best when you bring the examples in too while you're speaking. Is that true though? Do we really go to hell or heaven? Bro, what is true? What does true mean? What does real mean? This is why I tell y'all the existentials are so important, because you're going to keep asking questions like that. You're going to keep asking what is true. Is this true? Is that true? Is this true? Is that true? Without questioning what constitutes the category of true. How do we come to an idea such as that? See, when you ask that question, what you're looking for is someone to give you an answer. Someone to follow. I'm not going to do that. This is why we go to the existential essentials. These constitute the category of true and real? When you play Monopoly, what's real? That fucking board and those pieces. Nothing outside of that is real in Monopoly. When you are a Christian, what is real? What is true? So what is real or true is contingent upon your metaphysics. Come on, man. Come on. Keep up. Keep up, man. You better not be out here teaching, bro. You destitute. I think if you believe that, it's based on the metaphysics. That's why he says most of us are still Christians. Is that wrong to be looking for someone to give me an answer for a question I asked? No, it's wrong because you're not facilitating your capacity to understand. See, I didn't say it was wrong that you asked a question and you wanted to answer for a question you asked. I'm saying it's wrong because you're not contending with how you think. You have the audacity to ask the question, but is that true? Without checking whether or not you even understand what true means. See? It can all be so simple, kiddo. I'm so serious. This is why I go over those existential essentials. And I bet you look and say, oh yeah, I get that. No. You need answers to these questions to form the basis of what would be true or real. So to answer the question of whether or not something is true or real, you look at the fundamental metaphysics. It's as simple as that. And I say it every time. So you're not wrong for asking a question and wanting an answer. You're wrong for presuming you know enough to understand the answer. Your question itself reflects that you're not. That's my point. Because look, if you really gonna claim to be a baby in this shit, be a baby. If you really want to be a master student, challenge how you think. Challenge how you think. I honestly don't get the existential essentials every time you speak on it. Bruh, you get part of it. I'm speaking the English language. You get the word reality. Have you looked up the word existential? Have you looked up essential? And not just look it up in one dictionary. Not just spend 5 minutes looking to see, Study it. See, there's mountains of information on these things. Mountains of information, but if you think you're going to get an answer in 5 minutes, you're sorely mistaken. You gotta do the research. I can even point y'all motherfuckers to people who are better at this shit than me, right? Fuck out of here. I'm so serious, kiddo. I'm so serious. All right. So, in order to understand ancestors or even really be engaged with them, one of the things you have to have as some type of a belief is in an afterlife. And to be completely honest, an afterlife sort of invokes the idea of a pre-life as well. You know, because if you say, okay, I was born on this day, well, everyone else who had died before you is already in what you're calling the afterlife. So they're ahead of you there. So you got a pre and an afterlife. So you have to believe in that. And once again, if you really believe in it, your actions are going to reflect it. Okay? Keep that in mind, because it's so much more than confidently saying, well, I believe, or really wanting to believe really, really, really bad. All right? It's not going to be enough. But there are so many different forms or ideas about how an afterlife works. Like we talked about, Christianity is a basic one for people here in the West about the idea of a heaven or a hell. Let's walk through some of these, okay? You have the idea of reincarnation, right? A lot of people like this idea. A lot of people will agree to this. It feels nice. But they won't look at the underlying metaphysics that are necessary for something like this. On that shit, I can see how many lifetimes I had given servitude to certain deities. Oh, Hey, man. Maybe it's what you got to do. Look, because we talking about reincarnation right now, so this is that kind of idea. All right, because you can get into. We'll actually walk there a little bit here. All right, reincarnation is the philosophical or religious concept that an aspect of a living being starts a new life in a different physical body or form after death. Okay. The Buddhist or Hindu ideas of this are some of the most popular. All right, this is the 12 nidanas in Buddhist artwork. That's nice. Let me see if I can click it. All right. I think in other places this is called the Wheel of Samsara, or maybe not this specific image to be exact. I will be honest. But if I'm looking at this correctly, you got Mara sitting back here holding the wheel. It's Mara. I would say it's Mara because he's got the 5 skulls on the top of his head and the 3 eyes and the monstrous flaming face. All right, holding and turning the wheels of samsara. And the way reincarnation generally is framed to work is that you remain in the cycles of life and death until you've done some particular thing or reached some particular threshold, in which case you can move out of that cycle of life and death into another, maybe larger cycle. Like, see here, you got on the outside, you got these 12 steps, but on the inside, you get to 5. And then here, there's really just 2 and then 1 at the pinnacle. Okay, so some models of reincarnation will have different levels or densities you have to move through, depending or contingent on whatever it is you're doing. Sometimes people will say it's karma, right? Karma, it's you're not. What's the opposite of purification? I guess I could just say impurity, right? Karma is a form of impurity or pollution. I like that. It's a form of pollution on whatever it is that you are that's doing the moving. Okay, so let's say, because there's always a word for it. Let me see what their word for it is. Jivas. All right. So samsara refers to the process in which souls, jivas, go through a sequence of human and animal forms. Okay? So you being one of these jivas move through the cycle of life and death. Whether it's that 12-fold or that 5-fold or that 2-fold, all the way till you get to the pinnacle of the 1-fold, which is the ultimate goal of that particular form of ascension. All the while being more and more purified. Okay, and even in Christianity, there's the idea of a purification. If you've heard the word purgatory is, and we'll get to this kind of in a second, but just to dip on it a little bit. Purgatory is, okay, let's say, okay, you was good, right? And you going to heaven, yeah, but you still got a little bit of cleaning to do. And so you go through a purification process in purgatory to get you ready for heaven. Okay, that's how purgatory works. Well, I'm pretty sure we're going to tap into it as we move through here. But look, this is talking about a metaphysics. There's a metaphysics. There's a certain way reality needs to be structured for this to be true. And if you go back to reducing everything to atoms, quarks, quarks, melanin, magnetosphere, that's not conducive with any of these. Back oil, you think that's what's going to make the difference? You missed how this works. Fuck. Spooky back oil. Yeah, reincarnation bothers me because my question always been, what is being reincarnated? And motherfuckers will say the soul. Doesn't that provoke the souls in the body? Well, once again, it gets back into the metaphysics, because just like we're talking about here, jivas are what they're talking about, which could be translated to soul in English. But this is part of the reason English is a bit tricky for that, especially the way we use English today. Like, for example, in Sanskrit, there's a plethora of words for what in English we would just use soul or spirit. Like, if you go to the motherfuckers who live in the snow, right? They got a plethora of words to describe snow. But if you're talking about motherfuckers here who barely see snow or don't really give a fuck about it, we got one word, snow. All right? And it's not because we don't have the original word. No. Philosophy of language. The ways in which we define and categorize the world are reflected in our language. Okay? Some languages don't necessarily have the capacity to express something like this. And English is not really good for spirituality. You got to really know English. And most of you don't know English. Oh, I know English. I can talk to some niggas I know. Shut up. That's wrong. Okay. God, don't be so mean. So once again, in order to facilitate something like reincarnation, it's going to speak to your metaphysics fundamentally every time. Okay, so it's not as easy, it's not as simple as simply saying, I believe in reincarnation. Okay, well, how are you defining and framing the world? Well, once the back oil hits the cranial nerves and the magnetosphere sees your DNA, it begins to reincarnate you. No, that's not how it works. That's not how it works. It's cap. Thank you. Is it still hot? Wonderful. That's not how it works. It's still, that's cap. All right, but if you're in one of these groups where nobody disagrees with you, the shit that's cap will pass. You know, if you're in a group with a motherfucker, every time you say something, exactly. Uh-oh. Check. Hey guys, that's gems. You're not gonna learn. You're not gonna learn. Like, you need me to destroy your awful questions. And you need to keep asking them. All right, as you do the research. Anyways, continuing. Let's look at some more of these basics. We talked about heaven and hell a little bit. And heaven and hell reflects a lot of different things that have come before it as well. We'll get into this. Here we go. Ancient Egyptian religion, right? Does everybody know this part? Everybody know the scales in Mahat and the feather and you weighed a heart with Anubis. You know, everybody know to say that because that's what motherfuckers say. And look, this is basic Wikipedia research. All you need to do is just a basic research to get you moving. All right. Most people have heard of the Egyptian Book of the Dead. I was looking at this last night. It's the one Bobby Hemmett suggests is by E.A. Wallace Budge. Okay. Where's the name? Here we go. E.A. Wallace Budge. I'll put it back up. Right, it could all be so simple. He suggested the one by E.A. Wallace Budge. But the Egyptian Book of the Dead, the book of coming forth by day and night. All right, this isn't talking about physical life sunrise. All right, even though that's what you begin with in initiation because that's all you know. Coming forth by day and night, coming forth by this duality, the engagement between these two opposing sides. All right. They're talking about life beyond physical life. Their idea of their day-to-day life was nested in a certain metaphysics. Their idea of their day-to-day life was nested in a certain metaphysics. They would wait, and when they said wait for the sun to come up, they're thinking, okay, it's Ra, him on his boat again. He's gonna make it through the underworld and bring us the sun back. The metaphysics nests their sense of themselves and their day-to-day life. Atoms, particles, and back oil don't do that. It sounds like the middle path is returning to nothingness, like you is being absorbed or eaten. On the middle path, there's no such thing as a self. Well, let me say there's no such thing. Let me be more exact. The idea of a self is illusionary. Everything is illusion. That's not the one thing. This is why I say you have to be so neutral, it's bias. The closest you can get to that ultimate ends when it comes to the middle path is the negative space of a self. It's a non-self. All right, you can't even get to the end holding on to a self. It's not gonna work as far as the middle path is concerned. So motherfuckers will say it because it's easy to say, but they usually don't understand what they're talking about. But they don't have to because everybody's going to agree with them. Society EJX. The Book of the Dead is a prime example of your map versus method. Well, usually, see, because things like this were made for those people. And so they grew up in the metaphysics that was necessary to use these methodologies. It wasn't that this is the real truth. It was made for their metaphysics. It was made for their metaphysics. And so they didn't have to go back and explain the metaphysics because you were raised in it. It could be so simple, bro. There's also a Tibetan Book of the Dead. I was looking at this one the other day too. Let me look at this one. All right, you can get it. Don't ask me. Is it the real one? Just stop. I don't know who thought that. Stop. Just stop. Look, you find the oldest copy you want. Here, there's probably an old copy right here. Okay. Matter of fact, if you want the real one, learn the language. Learn the language. Go live there. That'll get you the real. Like, you know what I'm saying, bro? Most of these ideas are not made to fit people today in the metaphysics that people have. They're not made to fit. I can tell you Ra is a falcon-headed deity, but you've almost never seen a falcon in your life. You ain't seen a jackal before. A crocodile, you seen it at the zoo once. The motherfuckers that shit was made for, crocodiles was up the street. Fuck you mean? Homeboy cousin got eat by a crocodile. Y'all motherfuckers ain't that. But you want to understand why they did what they did. Not to claim that what they're doing is the ultimate truth, is the real, original truth. Like, shut that prideful shit up. God damn it, bruh. No, let's look at this a little bit. The afterlife played an important role in ancient Egyptian religion. It's not Egypt, it's Kemet. I know. You got one of those words from the language, and now you want to use that word to say the name because that's the original name. Okay, I get it. You're not wrong. Do you know the rest of the religion? And what good is it? What good is the rest of the religion? Who else speaks it? I've seen maybe one or two people who speak the language. And that's not even enough. You need to live that life. You need to be nested in that metaphysics where when I speak the language, it vibrates the particles and back to physicalism. When the body died, part of it, soul, known as Ka, or body double, and the Ba, personality, soul and personality, two different things, right away, will go to the kingdom of the dead. All right. While the soul dwelt in the fields of Aru, Osiris demanded work as restitution for the protection he provided. Osiris being the lord of the underworld. See, in cosmology, like the Egyptian cosmology, I think the Greek does this as well. I think the Jewish cosmology is like this as well. We'll look at it a little bit. There is no place for good people and place for bad people. All the dead end up in the same place. Like, here, let me see if I have, here, I opened this one as well. This is what you have for in the Japanese mythology. The place is called Yomi. It's the underworld. All right. Yomi or Yomi no Kuni is a Japanese word for the land of the dead, world of darkness. According to Shinto mythology, as related to Kojiki, this is where the dead go in the afterlife. All right. So regardless of whether or not you were good or bad, you go into Yomi. Period. Okay. You go into Yomi. And look, I don't speak Japanese. So don't ask me about what does that really mean. It's Asian information. If you want to know that, you can really look it up. You can do the research on it. You can dive into it. This was the name of their afterlife. So this is in this kind of metaphysics, there isn't a dynamic where you're judged on your good or bad behavior. You're going to end up there regardless. Just like with the Greek underworld, okay? What else do I want to see here? Let me see if there's anything else interesting. Yomi is ruled over by Izanami, okay? Usually, with an underworld type thing, there's a ruler of the underworld. Like with the Egyptians, it's Osiris. This is why when they went to the fields of Aru, they had to do work for Osiris's protection. Because he's running the underworld. He's taking care of all that shit. Okay? There's a whole tale about Izanami and Izanagi. Once again, take a look at these things, man. Because look, it's easy to say, I believe this and feel good about it. To actually participate in this shit, you have to understand the metaphysics. And your physicalist metaphysics isn't going to cut it. It's not. It's made not to be able to do that. Just like bleach is made not to be able to support life. That's not a bug in how bleach is. Bleach should be another way. No, it's made to be that way. You can support life with all kind of other things. Air, water, soil. There's some life that live in boiling water. In complete darkness. There's life that lives in other life. So many other ways you can support life. But when you're stuck in this physicalism, what you're trying to do is support life with bleach. And it's just wrong. It's just wrong. Adrian Lely, good to see you in the chat. Welcome to the show. If you haven't already, check The Biggest Secret by David Icke. Also, Revelations of a Mother Goddess. Again, David Icke. Why am I checking that? Are you gonna lead us to the real truth? Okay, I remember David Icke, that guy. And what did you say to look at? The Biggest Secret, bruh. Just give me a title like that. I'm not even trying to look at it. Well, why do you suggest it, Adrian? What about it are you suggesting it? And Revelations of a Mother Goddess. Once again, why are you suggesting it? Seymour, I thought that said Yoni. I'm like, pack me up right now. Right, look, that's what I thought when I seen it first time. When I was looking up Izanami and Izanagi, they were talking about Yomi. I'm like, is that Yoni? I don't necessarily know the etymology of the word, to be completely honest. So I can't tell you it's not. But I don't even know, so I'm not gonna tell you anything that way. This is good. I saw the please. My dad created his afterlife. There was a purple ocean. Everything was purple. He was in a boat just chilling. I'm confused about judgment at the life because I always thought, what the fuck is doing the judging? Is that the shadow work coming up? Is you're asking the question, the shadow work coming up? Well, because look, there are certain metaphysics that have judgment. Like when we're talking about samsara, the judgment comes by way of the karma itself. It's like gravity, so to speak, or density. Like if you know how hailstones are formed in the atmosphere. Is there a picture of the cycle? Let me put up formation. Formation. But the way it works is Here we go. There's an upward draft going on in the higher parts of the atmosphere. And so you got the water droplets are falling and freezing, and at a certain while they're light, they'll keep doing that and adding more and more layers to the hailstone until it reaches a certain weight, and then it can't get caught up in that anymore, and it falls to the ground. Okay, that's how hailstones work. I think karma, in the terms of reincarnation, works in the opposite sense, where you stay in the wheels of samsara because of how heavy you are with karma. And as you become lighter, you get out of that particular cycle and move to a next one. Okay? Wait. But when it comes to realms of judgment, like here, we can look at the Bardo. Okay? And this comes from the Tibetan stuff, the Buddhism. In some schools of Buddhism, Bardo, or Sanskrit word I'm not going to say, is an intermediate, transitional, or liminal space between death and rebirth. So we got the death and the rebirth cycle still, but sometimes there's traditions where you go to the Bardo, all right, or this. It's not necessarily limbo, and we'll get to limbo a little bit, but it's a transitional space where how you're going to be reborn is judged based on certain deities that are pillars in the cosmology. They're focal points of the cosmology. Like how Osiris was a focal point of the cosmology. There will be deities that's all they do is facilitate death and rebirth. And so once again, it points back to your underlying metaphysics. So just grabbing pieces from different cosmologies and saying, I believe in it, ain't gonna cut it. Okay? It just won't work. And it's not, I don't necessarily think that's a part of your shadow work. I think it's a part of you actually examining what are the fundamentals I believe in that are gonna give me this experience I'm saying is real. So it's inevitable. You have to look at these things. But for a lot of people, it's too much thinking. Whatever. Fuck these motherfuckers, bro. So yeah, the Bardo is an intermediate, transitional, or liminal state between death and rebirth. See, I'm not here to tell you what's true. That's a philosophical question. That's a philosophical question. I already went through the existential essentials. You answer these questions, you now have the components to make such a determination or come to that conclusion. Without these components, you could never answer a question of what's real or true. I don't care whose book you read it in. Without the answers to these questions, you can't form that base. You can't come to that conclusion. It's a philosophical question. It's not a right answer question like in school. All right. So that was the Bardo. Great example. I'm not sure what the example was. I'm sorry my spelling is off the chain today. Hey, man, as long as you're working on it, I don't care. The great example of the afterlife is the movie What Dreams May Come. I do really like that example of it. Here, are you going to give me the IMDb? Here we go. Yeah, I do really like this example of it. Once again, I'm not here to tell you what's true or real. I'm telling you the nature and the relationship between your metaphysics, your day-to-day life, and what you consider true or real. They all work together, and it's not as simple as just picking out things that feel good. Well, yeah, check this movie out, guys. This is a really good example of how there's a dynamic about how these things work. I see how hell still come up for me, but it took honesty for me to see that. Yeah, you got to get past the pride. Pride is the devil. No, it got a hold on you. Yeah, you got to look beyond your pride. You know, and it hurts. It doesn't feel good. This digging to actually see what you believe in is difficult. That's why most people just settle for finding some new word that makes them feel good and then pretending like they can teach it to other people. Giving out hints and tips based on basically no research, just finding something that felt good to them. It's out here, bro. I'm trying to help you. All right. Okay, here we go. With the Egyptian world, arriving at one's reward in afterlife was a demanding ordeal, requiring a sin-free heart and the ability to recite the spells, passwords, and formula of the Book of the Dead. So it's not just walking up and putting your heart on there. Do I make it, sir? You have to know a little bit to get past a certain point, man. There's duty involved in this. There's duty. It's not just I'm the everything and I always get what I want, all about me spirituality. There's duty, there's form, there's order. It's not as simple as saying I believe. Ma'at. Nah, bro, chill out. Like the negative confessions of Ma'at. The 42 negative confessions of Ma'at. These aren't rules like the 10 Commandments are rules. These are negative confessions. Why? Because anyone who's lived a physical life, from the perspective of them being that thing in the physical world, they're going to have done at least one of those. Hell, you're going to do at least a few of them before you even turn 7. All right, your heart being light as a feather is about the degree to which you really believed that was you. And when you go through the negative confessions, you're challenging your belief, your identity with that concept of yourself in the physical world. You go through all of them because the thing that was never you in the physical world, that Ka and Ba, isn't guilty of any of that. It's simple, bro. It's simple. Like I said, in Greek mythology, they have the underworld, okay? And so this is a concept where it's not necessarily like a heaven or hell, goodies and baddies. It's anyone who dies goes here. Any and everyone who dies goes here. There's not really anywhere else to go. As a matter of fact, once you get there, then there's other aspects of the underworld to go through. Like they have Charon. He meets you at the river Styx. All right? Once you die, you go to the river Styx and you wait to be ferried across into the underworld. And you can't get across the ferry unless you got toll to pay Charon. And if you don't, you stand on the other side of the river Styx forever. So it was the duty of the people in your family to make sure you had the money to get across. Here we go. The soul will be sent to Elysium, Tartarus, excuse me, or the asphodel fields. So look, it's not even just the underworld. There are different parts of this, all right? During the shitstorm, I talked about Tartarus, because Tartarus isn't just a place, it's a being in and of itself. You have Elysium, otherwise known as the Elysian Fields, is a conception of the afterlife that developed over time and was maintained by some Greek religious and philosophical sects and cults. Okay, this is one part of where you could go in the afterlife, depending on who and how you were. Because the worst of the worst went to Tartarus, boy. The worst of the worst went to Tartarus. All right, let's continue. The Norse mythology, I like this one as well. And remember, once again, I'm going through these because each of these afterlives match up with the metaphysics. Each of these afterlives match up with the metaphysics. Each of these afterlives match up with their metaphysics. If your metaphysics is particles, cranial nerves, melanin, quantum quasi-Higgs boson, dark matter, 0 point energy, there is no afterlife with that. All there is physical with that metaphysical lens. Period. Period. So are these stories just made up talking about these deities in the underworld? Is it psychobabble? Bruh, what do you mean made up? With the metaphysical lens that a Christian uses for their metaphysics, angels are not made up. From the metaphysical lens of physicalism, materialism, where everything is only matter, if it's not matter, it's made up. So to answer your question, it depends on the metaphysical lens you are using. Once again, there is no ultimate truth or reality. Why is there no ultimate truth or reality? Because what would constitute the category, ultimately? You're not going to find the one truth. Truth and reality are based on those components of metaphysics. The existential essentials, the answers to these questions, constitute the category of what is real or true. The answers to these questions, because there's not a right answer. At this level of analysis, there's no such thing as right or wrong, true or false. Right, wrong, true, or false are contextual. I'm not saying everything is subjective, because once again, you just divide it into objective and subjective. No. I'm saying at this level of analysis, there's no defining lines. There's no distinctions. You have to understand what you mean by true or real. It's a metaphysical concept, specifically an ontological concept. I speak plain English. Would you say your afterlife be dictated on your three? Yes. Yes, you need answers to those in order to frame anything else. Never mind, you just answered that. Yeah, you need answers to those questions to frame anything else. See, when you're a Christian, they give you answer to all those questions in the narrative. When you're in a religion, they do it so seamlessly, so perfectly, that you never have to question it. But when you jump out here and want to be looking for the secrets yourself, you need a little bit more, because no one's doing it for you anymore. And so you're running around, is this true? Is that true? Is this true? Is that true? Is this true? Is that true? What is true? I will point you motherfuckers back to the most basic concepts in your questions. What is you? Barry's just trying to trick me. Whatever. If I was tricking you, wouldn't catch it. Great question to ask yourself is, what do you truly believe when building your narrative? You have to. Because your narrative will contain what you really believe in. It has to. That's how metaphysics, cosmological narratives work. Look at I always use the Christian example because niggas know it. They have the at large, the in context, and the narrative that brings all those things together. It could be simple. And breaking down your belief to lowest level and building it back up with what's left. Yes. You have to contend with what you really believe. Not what you'd like to believe. What you really believe. What your actions show you believe. What your actions show you believe. You got to. You got to do that before you can answer a question of true or real. You got to. The Norse religion, okay? I like this one. So they have different places, just like with the Egyptian pantheon, they have different places based on the life you live. Okay, I don't think they have a river Styx or a Charon type of thing where you have to pay your toll to get there. Okay, with Valhalla, half the warriors who die in battle join the god Odin, who rules over a majestic hall called Valhalla in Asgard. So, warriors, you die that warrior death, you get access to Valhalla. All right. The other half join the goddess Freya in a great meadow known as Volkvanger. All right. Once again, keep in mind these afterlives coincide with their metaphysics. The way they frame the world coincides with their afterlife. So if you're dealing with ancestors, some type of afterlife, you gotta look at your metaphysics. And if your metaphysics is melanin, carbon is 666. No, it's not. No, it's not. If your underlying metaphysics is carbon, back oil, spooky back oil, magnetosphere, cranial nerves, 0-point energy, Higgs boson, there is no anything other than physical with that metaphysics. It's made not to be able to put anything else on it. It's made not to be able to put anything else on it. The same way that bleach is made not to support life. This is why anytime y'all try and do that, it's literally pseudoscience. That's why you won't take none of that shit to a biologist. That's why you won't take none of that shit to a physicist. Because it's pseudoscience and they tell you real quick, bruh. Look, here's your 666, man. Let go of the carbon. Let go of the carbon. This goes back to the fundamental map, the nature of 6 itself, in its relationship to 1, 3, and 9. Fuck out of here. Melanin, carbon, 666. Melanin ain't even just carbon. Fuck out of here. Relax you good. So what I really believe in makes it right because it's what I believe in. What constitutes the category of right or true is based on your metaphysical fundamentals. What you believe in is your metaphysical fundamentals. See, it's not right because you believe in it. Because then what you're going to do is you're going to pull it into narcissism. Well, it's just about me and my beliefs. It's about your metaphysics. It's about your metaphysics and whether or not you actually believe in that. It's contending with what you really believe, not just what I believe is right. That's shallow. Dig deeper. You have to contend with what you really believe. And it's not as easy as picking up, I'm going to say Valhalla and Anubis and Zeus. I'm going to take the devil and make it ego. And now this is what I believe because I said it. What the fuck is you in all of that? Great, you got a handful of pieces you scalped from all over the place. What the fuck is you in any of it? All those pieces functioned in a certain way in the metaphysics they came from. Bruh, if I took the stomach of a shark, the heart of an elephant, the brain of a kangaroo, and put them in a new body. Yeah, I got the components that make up an organ system, but them shits ain't fit to work with each other. And to the degree to which I do get them to work with each other, it's going to be a monstrosity, a chimera, a Frankenstein. It's not going to work like it worked before. And you have to take these things into consideration. Motherfuckers just out here skipping around thinking it's all Gucci or good. What do niggas say? Shit sweet. Thinking shit sweet. You have to contend with what you believe. You can't just label what you believe as right. This stuff needs to cohere. It needs to have continuity. Otherwise, it's just babble. How far did your 3 existential essentials take you in the afterlife? Because I always feel like that is just one step of it. And even that, we start to fade away. Well, here's what you want to understand as well. Throughout history, all these different cosmologies we're talking about, these were done in a community, in a group of people. It wasn't just me and mine and my answers and me and mine, me and mine, me and mine. See, part of your metaphysics needs to contend with the existence of others. How you do that, that's up to you. But there has to be some way it contends with this. And see, look, back in the day in Egypt, everybody had the same cosmology. When we're talking about something like Valhalla, everybody there had the same cosmology. Trying to have your own cosmology is tricky. It's tricky. I can only warn you. I'd really suggest motherfuckers come together in groups and communities and do this shit, but everyone's got the pride. No, it's me. I make my own reality. All right, wait till they get lonely. Then what is you? Question is such a hard thing to answer. I'm not sure if it's a trick question when we're talking about this deep stuff or not. No, it's not a trick question. It's a direct question. And to be completely honest, it's not even simply a question. It can also be a statement. I really think when you look at it as a statement, the answer's there, but you have to understand these words. You have to understand these words. You have to challenge your understanding of things. What we use for the word you today in contemporary English, in Old English was at least 4 different words. What the fuck is a you? What is what? This, that, or they're just sounds. No, that's a sound. Does it mean anything? No. This sound, it means something. It's not just a sound. There's more to it. There's more to it. What's the difference between this and that and or? In, on, a, the. See, motherfuckers will spit the word all day based on how they feel, but they never check the tools they're using. What is you? I speak plain English, but motherfuckers don't realize they don't know English, so they look at me and they're like, you must be trying to trick me. No, motherfucker, you tricked yourself 10 steps ago, and I was the only motherfucker nice enough to point it out to you. I'm telling you, bro. Like, we're not our meat bag, but we're our name since it's not physical. Well, I'm not going to tell you you're wrong. I'm not going to tell you you're wrong. Here. Because this is why, because look, most of the times when people tell you to go within, they tell it to you at the limit of their understanding and of their capacity to explain. Like when you're in Christianity and you ask too many questions to the pastor and they just said, well, you just got to pray to God. Right? That's how people will use go within at the end of their capacity to explain. This is why I start this at the beginning of the Bookman model. Go within is a very basic concept. It's talking about what you're talking about there. Where you say we're not the meat bag, but we're our name since it's not physical. I don't need to correct you too much on that. But this is what Brandon is doing. He's turning away from the physical body and the physical world. I'm not saying get rid of them. Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. The baby was the whole point of having bathwater. Yes, but you need to learn to make that distinction. And so being able to make that distinction between physical and non-physical is going to be crucial. And just like you said, now that you can make that little bit of a distinction, that's the direction you go for within. What constitutes the category of, well, I am Brandon? It's not about the body and it's not about the physical world. that's the direction you go to begin doing your shadow and personality work, to begin moving along the path of ascension. In a general sense, because I'm using the Bookman model. Because once again, I have to set this up because you're inundated in physicalism, don't know how to look at it, and so I have to set you up to see it. But that's what initiation was. That's what the process of initiation was. That's why motherfuckers who have these contemporary metaphysics of physicalism can't go through those old initiation rites. Even Bobby Hemmett told y'all niggas that shit is old, that shit is dead. Like, your metaphysical presuppositions are so key to this work. It's easy to say the word metaphysics and have no idea what it means. Ain't nobody else in this motherfucking community telling y'all what metaphysics is. Your name came with the meat bag. So yeah, they named the meat bag. That idea that you identify with, that me that you identify with when you let go of the body, it's I am Brandon. Right? That's the direction you want to go in. You're not going inside of melanin. You're not going inside of cells. You're not going inside of back oil. You're not going inside of Higgs boson. All that shit's the physical world. You're not going inside a 0-point dark energy electromagnetic spectrum. All that shit's the physical world. Turn away from it. Like, no, don't rant anymore. Don't rant anymore. Be nice. You're fine. You're fine. Great example was the Hercules Greek and Hercules Roman. Romans took the template from Greeks and made Hercules into something that new, that fit to their narrative. They had very similar underlying metaphysical presuppositions. Yeah, the Roman Catholic Church did that with a lot of different sets of things, sets of ideas. They take it and implement it. The English language is good for doing that, period. What happens when we get within us the correct way, help us do? What happens when we go within us the correct way, help us do? This is when you can actually begin to do anything spiritual. There's nothing you do in the physical world that's spiritual. The degree to which something is spiritual is about it transcending the physical. This is to get you turned in the right direction. See, going within, you don't even take a step yet. This is just turning you in the right direction to start doing the work. This just turns you in the right direction to start doing the work. That's what I'm saying. Good job, Dawson. Most of you niggas is babies in all of this. You ain't even begun, and you don't know you ain't begun because you're used to being in these groups where everybody tells you check, fire, facts, you tapping in, and everybody repeats the same shit. And so your emotions is up high. Your confidence, your pride is up high, and you think that's spiritual. And it's emotionalism. I'm gonna show it to you. I'm gonna show it to you. Here we go.
And if everybody agreeing on the same thing, somebody wrong. You see? Check? Check. All right then. They play on your emotion. Saying nothing well and playing on your emotion. Tell a person what they want to hear and say nothing well. You can say nothing if you can say it well. They play on your emotion. And that's the problem with our people. They have been teaching you what you wanted to hear and not what you really needed to hear because they didn't know what you really needed to hear. That's called the art of public speaking. They play on your emotion. So that's getting your emotion up to a certain level, and you thinking that's spiritual, that's emotionalism. They play on your emotion. And they'd come up and they would come into some stuff and they would be talking all this good stuff and people, yeah. But everybody's ignorant. You see what I'm saying? They play on your emotion. And if everybody agreeing on the same thing, somebody wrong. You see? Check? Yeah. All right then.
You in these rooms where everybody agree, always agree, everybody agree. Every time somebody say something, check. We building. We tapping in. Every time And you walk in and you feel good. Everybody say check, fire facts. They give you the fire emoji, the gym emoji, the 100 emoji. But everybody ignorant. And nobody can see how they're ignorant or if they're ignorant because they all there for them feel goods. All there for the fucking feel goods, man. Ooh, I'm not a baby. I'm a fetus in this bitch. Look, go ahead, Sonny. You just get low. I get low. So do some psychologists help people go within the correct way? Look. You go to a psychologist, they're not going to turn you away from the physical world. Mostly they're going to deal with how you're trying to avoid the physical world, which is what gets most people into spirituality in the first place. So you can't do this work avoiding the physical world. It's not going to work. And then most of the psychologists you're going to go to aren't dealing with anything spiritual. They're not turning you away from the physical world. That is what go within is. Turning away from the physical world. Look, I even put pictures on it. I put pictures on it. Like, look, you're really looking deeply for the correct way to do things. Let it go. Get shit wrong for a long time and embrace that that's what you're going to do. I'm so serious. This ain't like school where there's a correct answer and you get your gold star. I'm so serious. I keep saying it. I'm telling you. Cast a spell. I'm the lust on my parents' eyes. Ooh. Somebody get your parents a tissue. Ooh, that's nasty. But I mean, I can see how that's true. I like that. It's poetic. Where was I at, man? Y'all funny. Oh, the Norse mythology. Okay, so yeah, I don't know if they necessarily had a underhill. Niflhel is believed to be a place of punishment. Okay, there we go. Where the oath breakers and other wicked people go. Ooh, oath breakers. Your word ain't shit. You said you was gonna do this in the third, and you didn't. How many of y'all? You see, y'all love Jesus because Jesus is gonna let you get away with that, right? Jesus, please forgive me, please. I ain't shit. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. See, nah, oath breaking ass motherfuckers. There's a whole place set up for you, boy. Stop. Oh, hell yeah. Look, see, these afterlives coincide with the metaphysics. Your physicalism is made not to have that. Melanin, spooky back oil, cranial nerves, magnetosphere, cell biology, DNA, metabolism, Higgs boson. None of that shit is made to fit anything else. It's specifically made not to do what you're trying to do. It's bleach. You cannot grow plants and sustain life with it. And it's not because something's wrong with bleach. It's made to do that. You have to really understand what you believe. Because you've been believing this shit. I'm not saying it's wrong, because it's very effective for what it's made to do. It's very effective for what it's made to do. All the technology, all the innovation, it's very effective for what it's made to do. But you motherfuckers are trying to use physicalism to do something it was never made to do. You trying to use it to do something it was never made to do. The world is perfect. It's you that's the problem. I'm pointing you to the nature of your predicament and how you're continuing to agree to it. The nature of your predicament and how you're continuing to agree to it. I can't, bro, I speak plain English. When niggas don't know, they don't know English. Sheol, I don't know Hebrew. In the Hebrew Bible is a place of darkness to which all the dead go. Okay, so that's just like the underworld kind of thing, where regardless of how you are, that's where you're going. Here, let me. I pinned it because I want to look a little bit. Which lies after death. Within the Hebrew Bible, there are a few, often brief and nondescript, mentions of Sheol, seemingly describing it as a place where both the righteous and the unrighteous dead go, regardless of their moral choices in life. So, regardless of your moral choices in life, with this metaphysics, you're going to end up in Sheol. Period. Okay? There may not even be a reincarnation type thing after this. See, with like the Greek stuff, there's no reincarnation. There's no reincarnation. You in the underworld. Oh, shit. The inhabitants of Sheol were the shades, Raphaim, entities without personality or strength. Under some circumstances, they were thought to be able to be contacted by the living, as the witch of Endor contacts the shades of Samuel and Saul, but such practices were forbidden. So it's possible, but in their cosmology, in their metaphysics, it's forbidden. Hey, look. You got to look at this. Because different cosmologies, different metaphysics come along with different rules, different ideas, different necessities. And like we were talking about with the Egyptian pantheon, it ain't just you walk up and get your heart weighed. There's some shit you got to know. There's a bit of responsibility you have to be able to move forward. Your heart can be light as it fucking want to be. Did you do the rest of what you were supposed to? And see, when y'all motherfuckers talking about, I'm everything, I'm all things, what the fuck you need ancestors for? You already everything. Right? See, it's that narcissism will fuck you up. Well, I'm just personal friends with the all. No, you don't understand the all. I'm everything, I'm all these gods. No, you don't understand how none of that works. But it feels good to say that. And you walk into the room with that circle jerk, and everybody going, this nigga tapping in. And you take that shit to heart. That's what you want me to do. Nope, not gonna do it. Sheol, according to the Old Testament, that's where Jesus went to and took the keys from death and gave us access to hell and heaven. Oh, it's interesting. Okay, I mean, Jesus was a Jew, so I mean, look, he did some Prometheus shit. Why is it just one way? Like, why is there so much distortion and mishmash and stuff on this topic? Because motherfuckers are taking pieces of all kind of different things. See, the world ain't the issue, it's you. Back in the day, when you lived in Egypt, there was one way. When you lived in ancient Japan, with the Shinto religion, there was one way. When you're Christian and you deal with just Christianity, there's one way. Yeah. But see, motherfuckers now are trying to pick and choose from all kind of different things and don't know which way they're going. That's where your distortion and mismatching are coming from. Not metaphysics itself. See, when you don't know what you believe or what to believe, that's the distortion and mismatching, not the beliefs themselves. When you're busy trying to find the right, the true, the original way to believe, that's where you get all that mismatching and distortion. You got to understand the fundamentals of how any of this works. It's not as simple as saying, I'm not a Christian no more. That's what motherfuckers will tell you. So that they can believe that too, and y'all can just jerk each other off. Check. Oh, you two, bro. Fire. Do it. Facts. Gems to me. We tapping in. Nope. You don't understand. You don't know what's going on. And that's not the world. That's you. Just like last time, I talked about the dude I saw on Instagram, talking about how Scorpio being a water sign made no sense. It's not that it made no sense. He didn't understand. And instead of embracing the fact that he didn't understand, projects onto the world that makes no sense. That's what babies do. It's not that thing don't make sense. It's that you don't understand. And that's a very different thing. That's a very different thing. This is why you want to be in the habit of contending with whether or not you understand. How you know you understand. Thinking about your thinking. This is philosophy. Welcome to metaphysics, guys. Where you don't just walk into the room and your answer's right because you feel nice about it. I'm so serious. It's not the world, bro. It's you. We talked a bit about Christianity. Here, limbo. We were talking about limbo before. Despite popular opinion, limbo, which was elaborated upon by the theologians beginning in the Middle Ages, was never recognized as a dogma of the Catholic Church. Yet, at times, it has been a very popular theological theory within the Church. Limbo is a theory that unbaptized but innocent souls, such as those of infants, virtuous individuals, retarded people too, who lived before Jesus Christ was born on earth, or those that die before baptism, exist in neither heaven nor hell proper. Therefore, these souls neither merit the beatific as the ultimate direct self-communion with God and the individual person. Oh, cool. A person possessing the beatific vision reaches, as a member of redeemed humanity in the communion of saints, perfect salvation in its entirety, i.e. heaven. Nice. Interesting. See, look, learn things. Nor as subjected to any punishment, because they are not guilty of any personal sin, although they have not received baptism, so still bear original sin. Ooh, gotta wash that off. So they are generally seen as existing in a state of natural but not supernatural happiness until the end of time. That kind of sounds like the position that Satan and his followers are going to have after Revelations, where, after the rapture, after the 144,000 all go to heaven and they live happily ever after, the devil has to sit outside of the gates of heaven for all eternity in sort of a limbo. Yo, we need a no diddy after that demonstration. Hey man, look, that's the spiritual world. That's the spiritual community. That's what it is. The spiritual community out here with your check, fire, facts, and gems is all Diddy. Just jerking each other off. Fuck you mean? Hell yeah, I'm still learning stuff too. Of course. Of course. That's why I tell motherfuckers don't follow me or put me on a damn pedestal. Shit. We talked about purgatory a little bit. Let's see what else. This is mostly Christianity down here. You got the Jehovah's Witnesses. Islam. Wait, what are these other ones I opened up? Hold on. Jahannam. I knew I opened up one about Islam. Yeah, okay, here we go. In Islam, Jahannam is the place of punishment for unbelievers and evildoers in the afterlife or hell. This notion is an integral part of Islamic theology and has occupied an important place in the Muslim belief. Got one here for Islam, okay? Perfectly. Look, you want to get out of the Diddy shit? Start questioning, challenging shit. Instead of walking in and giving everybody check, fire, facts because of how you feel. Fuck out of here. Y'all motherfuckers spiritual circle jerks are all Diddy. It's all Diddy. Man, poor Diddy, bro. I'm saying, hey man, you get what you asked for, bro. I don't know what to tell you. I know what to tell you. Oh my God. Punishment and suffering in hell in mainstream Islam is physical, psychological, and spiritual, and varies according to the sins of the condemned person. Okay. All right, see, there's a little bit of depth to this as well. See, you want to check your metaphysics because your metaphysics directly ties in to your conception of an afterlife and ancestors. And it's not bad if you still believe in heaven and hell, but you have to be honest with yourself about that. You have to be honest with yourself about what you believe. You have to be honest about yourself, about what you believe. I see now Christianity afterlife leaves no room for ancestor work. Well, I mean, it can, depending on how you set it up. Because look, after somebody dies, they go to heaven. Maybe do they become an angel or not? I don't know. I'm not that good of a Christian. I don't know if they become an angel or not. Can you communicate with them? You can communicate with angels. You can communicate with God. Maybe you can call in an angel to go tell such and such this for me, if you can't communicate with them directly. It's in the metaphysics. It's in the metaphysics. But see, with Christianity, you don't necessarily have ancestor veneration, okay, which is here we go. Let's talk about it. The veneration of the dead, including one's ancestors, is based on love and respect for the deceased. So it's not, usually all you have to do with Christianity is give all that to Jesus. And maybe he, passes out the mail in heaven. He's like the post office in heaven, maybe. Okay. Once again, I'm not sure. Not going to lie to you. In some cultures, it is related to beliefs that the dead have a continued existence and may possess the ability to influence the fortune of the living. Now, see, in Christianity, you have to talk to more Christians because there are people who are better at Christianity than I am. Fuck. Then you go up there and maybe the people who have passed from heaven can talk to the angels and the angels can do something in your life. Because throughout Christian theology, angels are influencing the world, the physical world, the earth. They're the arms and hands of God. God don't really do shit for himself. Why do you keep saying your metaphysics instead of the metaphysics? Because there's no the metaphysics. There's no the metaphysics. Look, back when you used to live in Egypt, and that's all people there knew, there was the metaphysics for those people. But you can go around the globe, on the other side of the planet, let's say that's Japan, and they have a the metaphysics. Now, people's metaphysics is either physicalism or they're trying to be spiritual and don't know which way they're going. So I'm telling you, whatever the metaphysics that your beliefs rest on is the determining factor. But you have to contend with what that is. And it's not just pick a bunch of things like a Michael Jackson shopping spree. You have to really contend with what you believe. See, there's no ultimate reality that I can point to, that anyone can point to. Because what would you use to frame it? This is why you have to have answers to those existential essentials, because that is what you use to frame your metaphysics. I give it to you with the Christian example so you understand what roles different aspects of Christianity play in making up the whole metaphysics, because I know you know Christianity. I know you know Christianity. Well, I know you'll claim, I know enough of that to reject it. Nah, whatever. I'm not going to tell you the metaphysics, because then what you're really looking for is me to give you the answer on what you should do. I'm asking you to really lean in to what y'all claim to believe. There's a method to the madness, most sure. But you need to have a firm grasp of your metaphysics. Especially if you're out here creating your own reality. See, motherfuckers who back in the day when they lived in Egypt, they weren't creating their own reality. They were living in order with a certain metaphysics from the whole community. The Norse pantheon, living in a certain metaphysics from the whole community. You motherfuckers want to jump out here and reject all that as not real. Okay. Time to build it from the ground up. Hey, can you do it in Buddhism for the 3 existential essentials? No, because I'm not as familiar with Buddhism as I am with Christianity. I'm not as familiar with Buddhism as I am with Christianity. But if you actually understand what the 3 essentials are asking, you can do it. So why I do it. That's why I do this. So when you understand what role each of these plays, you can pick it out in any system. In every system, there is a fundamental ground of what exists. In every system, there are aspects that exist in context of that first part. And then in every system, there is a narrative that brings continuity to all of it. These are basic fundamentals of a cosmology. These are the basic fundamentals. You can find this in any system. I'm so serious. But I speak plain English. These are the most simple fundamental components. What is the basis of reality? What is the ground of being? In Christianity, it was heaven, hell, earth. Everything that exists is within those three arenas. Maybe even there's a dynamic between how they exist, what causes what. Then within those three arenas, those basic grounds of being, you have things you can find within them. And then there's a story that connects all of them, gives you a past and a future to contextualize a now. It's so basic. It's so basic. But when you're sitting around looking for the right answer, you're going to fail every time. You're going to fail every time. Unless you're following somebody else's answer, ain't no the right answer. That's some obedient shit. So it's not about what's right or wrong. It's about what system works for my life. It's about system. What system do you actually believe? It's about what do you actually believe. Not what works for your life, because then you're just going to pick whatever feels good. And then as soon as it stops feeling good, you're going to feel bad and be worried and oh my God, what's going on? It's about what you actually believe. Job in the Bible, fuck what was going on. He stood on what he actually believed. So you can't use what's going to make you feel good. You can't. You got to get on what you believe and stand on it. Make your actions based on that premises of thinking. What helped me out was looking up ontology, epistemology, and metaphysics. It could be so simple. It could be so simple. Like basic research. There's so much information on ontology, epistemology, metaphysics, and cosmology. There's so much information on it. All written in English. I'm so serious, y'all. This stuff is the most basics. And if you don't understand the basics, there's no way I can give you a methodology. Because look, okay, here you go with your physicalist method of physics, and I tell you, well, what you really got to do is make sure your heart is light as a feather for Anubis, so that you can get into Valhalla and ascend beyond the bounds of Sheol. That just makes three different metaphysics, and none of those metaphysics match up with the physicalism you believe in. And motherfuckers will say, oh yeah, I get that. That makes sense. That finally makes sense. Cap. Why do you keep using Christianity as an example if you think it's a slave religion? Because you all know it. Because you know it. You're familiar with it. There's no sense in me pulling up a religion, a cosmology that none of you are familiar with. So you have to go and get that first before you understand what I'm saying. I'm meeting you where you're at. And where you're at, as a person in the Western world, you know Christianity. You were raised close to it. As a matter of fact, Christianity, Islam, and Judaism usually use about the same metaphysics. Okay? So if I explain one of those, I'm going to hit where you're at, or close enough. So that's why I'm using it. I'm not, see, because once again, don't look for someone to tell you what to believe in. Don't look for someone to tell you what to believe in. You don't. No, I don't retract the mess. What you mean you don't? You don't what? Come on now. You wasn't raised in the Western world? English not your first language? The English language is deeply intertwined with the ideas of Christianity. You don't understand any of Christianity? I don't know Christianity like that. I was never in the church. I'm not talking about you being in the church. You don't have to go in the church. You don't have to read the Bible. You know the basic theology. You know the basic theology. Jesus died for your sin. God created heaven in 7 days. And then he gonna come back. You know the basics. This is why I keep it so simple. Because I know you know the basics. I've never heard of an angel. I've never heard of demons. Heaven, what that is? I'm not, that's all I'm saying. It was Mandarin first. You Chinese? English is in your first language? You started with Mandarin? You from Asia? East Asia? Nah, this man capping. That's what that is. This man capping. That's alright. I know what you do. That's what y'all do. You got to cap when you run out of... Bro, talking about bro, I know for a fact your ass ain't from East Asia. You Atlanta as hell, boy. Quit playing with me. Motherfuckers think they can ask a little sneaky question to get around what I'm saying. Nah. Take in what I'm saying. Alright. What we going ancestor worship and ritual. Early Indian religions were characterized by the belief in an afterlife, ancestor worship, and related rites. These concepts started to significantly change after the period of the Upanishads. Alright, and this is part of what I mean by Blasian. What stop? Even Blasian ain't no damn Asian word. What stop? But it'd be so much easier to just say I don't understand. That's it. And then all the solution is do a little research. Look up the basic story of Christianity. Because I know you know, but you don't want to have to hear it because you're upset with Christianity. That's how y'all do, man. The Upanishads. See, this is what I talk about when I talk about the socio-political history of a language and a culture. Okay, so just trying to pick up the Indian religion, the Hindu religion, and throw whatever you want to in there, and you don't understand how the politics of the culture, the society changed, you won't understand how things fit. It's like my nephew doesn't know what a Game Boy is, but he understands the Nintendo Switch. The same concept, but a different experience. Okay. Because you can fit some of these things together. It's not, because it's not what you believe. It's how you conceive things. My mother is Taiwanese. Come on now, don't assume what you don't know. Doesn't matter if your mother is Taiwanese. Blasian. Bro, you Atlanta as hell. You know the basics of Christianity. I don't care if your mother is Taiwanese. You Atlanta as hell. Trying to find a little technical way and get a... Why stop? Blasian. This nigga. Alright, so look. Check this out. If you're more versed in Buddhism and would like me to explain it in Buddhism, talk to me about some Buddhism. Give me some Buddhism. Give me some Buddhism right here. Because then you could be teaching me some shit. Right? Capping ass shit. Buddhists maintain that rebirth takes place upon an unchanging self or soul passing from one form to another. The type of rebirth will be conditioned by the moral tone of the person's actions. Karma. For example, if a person has committed harmful actions by body, speech, and mind based on a greed, hate, and delusion, would have his or her rebirth into a lower realm, i.e. an animal, a hungry ghost, or a hell realm is to be expected. On the other hand, where a person has performed skillful actions based on generosity, loving kindness, it's called metta. Let me guess, you knew that side, right? Metal, you know that? Compassion and wisdom. Rebirth into a happy realm, i.e. human and or one of the many heavenly realms can be expected. How their rebirth works ties directly into the metaphysics of what they consider to exist. Different lower and higher realms surrounding humanity. And their metaphysics ties directly in to how they conceive ancestors. And get your ass in the guild and get this work, bro. Hell yeah, man. I wanted to hear your example on it, my guy, but you're clearly not well versed on it. That's what I said. I'm not well versed on Buddhism. And you're not well versed on Buddhism. That's the point. That's the point. We are living here in the Western world. We know English. The language, the culture is deeply intertwined with Christianity. I'm not telling you to go believe Christianity. I'm pointing to the fact that you know how it works. You may not know everything, an expert. Not claiming that. You know some basic fundamentals, enough to understand what fundamentals are. Period. Come on, man. Buddhism. Every time you take a shit on the floor, he's going to clean it up. And I'm going to point it, I'm going to put your nose in it. Because we don't do the circle jerk here, bruh. We don't do the circle jerk here. And really, I mean, if you came up Buddhism, why even reject Buddhism? Why don't you use that metaphysics? Go ahead. Like, this is what I'm saying. You have to contend with whatever metaphysics you believe, as opposed to trying to jump to another one. So if Buddhism is really what you're familiar with, if that's what you claim, then it's as simple as understanding what these three questions are asking for. That's as simple as that. Buddhism. Y'all kill me sometimes, bro. Y'all kill me sometimes. It's alright. That's the Aru. We talked about the Bardo. Okay. Let me see what else they got in here. Jainism, Sikhism. And see, once again, Wikipedia is to start you researching things, to give you a few words in the context of what you're looking for to move through it. To give you a few words to get you started on looking what you want to look for, okay? Because it's very general information is what you're going to find in any encyclopedia. And this is an internet encyclopedia. You're going to find a lot of general information. So that's what's supposed to start you on your path to researching things. We ain't gonna bullshitter, bro. Y'all niggas is funny. Y'all niggas is real funny. Let me ask the question this way, and that's gonna get them to tell me. Bro, that's what I'm saying. What you need to do with your research? Ask the question different ways. Don't play me. Does the afterlife look like? What does the afterlife look for an atheist? I remember you saying you dabble in that. But for an atheist, there is no afterlife. YOLO. You only live one life. There's no before life. There's no afterlife. All there is your physical life as an atheist. That's it. Simple as that. Like, bro, like I'm saying, a lot of this stuff is not as difficult or complicated as it's portrayed to be. But you have to, once you understand the fundamentals, you can understand any of these things. Once you understand, this is why I show you guys the numbers with the fundamental maps. Once you understand the fundamentals, you can understand anything else. Once you understand the fundamentals, everything is using those fundamentals. The principles never change. The principles never change. How you apply the principles may change from group to group to group to group, from time to time, but the principles themselves never change. Like if you want to learn law, look up legal maxims. These are principles of law. They never change. They never change. They're always the same. Well, see, this is why motherfuckers don't understand the Hermetic principles, because they try and view it through the lens of physicalism. And so they miss the underlying principles. Anyways, this is my show for you guys today. Yeah, I woke up a little bit late. But Yeah, I don't really have anything else to say, to be completely honest. For those of you in the guild, I'm gonna check you out at office hours. If I close this, close all. What other things do I have open up over here? No, go here. What's this? Ah, that's what I needed.